And we totally get that, and we appreciate you for it. But
some of you follow us because you think me and Charles are going to do some gay shit on camera at some point.
Not this channel.
I was going to say, not this episode, man. I finally got to go out onto the golf course for the first time this year. I brought an extra pair of socks.
Okay.
In case I get a hole-in-one.
Aha! Fuck. I thought it was so you could masturbate on the... Welcome to the Two Gaming Dudes.
I can't believe we're actually going to have this debate. Point, counterpoint. Ready? Click subscribe. Point. Game of Thrones is one of the greatest TV series ever. Counterpoint.
I didn't like it. I thought it was boring. I thought it was boring.
Okay.
I mean...
I have, for the longest time, had the caveat that just because something is very, very popular doesn't mean it's good.
That's correct.
And I hold by that. Just because it's popular doesn't mean it's good. Eurovision is the biggest TV event. Actually, I think the Super Bowl's bigger. But Eurovision is... Yeah, come on. It's a joke.
Well, I mean, look, Velma's getting a second season because a lot of people watched it.
Because of the hate watches, yeah.
But those were all hate watches.
But sometimes something is really, really great, and that's why it becomes popular.
Yep.
Seinfeld.
Yes.
Greatest sitcom ever. Hugely popular. I don't know, we can think MASH. Stuff. There's stuff that's super popular, and it was good.
But just because it's super popular and it's super good doesn't mean it's going to be liked by every single person on the freaking planet. There's going to be somebody out there who's like, that's not for me, and I don't really like that. And for me, that was Game of Thrones.
What did you love about Lord of the Rings that wasn't here?
Lord of the Rings had more a sense of adventure. Like, to me, I think it was like the whole journey aspect of it. It felt more like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Yeah.
Okay.
I felt like, any one of us could be any of these characters, and we'd all go together and play these. It also had, kind of a sense of whimsy and like, on top of the fantasy element, there was also some brevity, some comedy laid in there. None of that is in Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, what was it, like the third or fourth episode where they like killed this wolf dog thing? Like, it was right in the very beginning, and it was like, this dog sucks, man, shoot it in the fucking head. So they did, and I remember like feeling all the feels that John Wick had when his dog was killed. Like, I was just like, oh, I hate you. You just killed that dog. And I turned it off and I walked away, and I wouldn't go back to it for weeks.
Jesus, man.
I was so mad at this show. And I did eventually go back. I watched more episodes. I got through season 1 grudgingly. And I started season 2. And then I just said, why am I doing this to myself? I am torturing myself with this garbage.
Wow, I'm astonished.
It is so drawn out. It is so boring. The blah blah kingdom and the blah blah politics and the blah blah. I don't care. And then there's boobies, and then they sex, and then they do.
And Aquaman's in it.
And Aquaman's
for a little
in
bit,
it, I guess.
It's true that this is not so much a fantasy series. No. It's got elements of it because we got dragons and swords, but they could have taken the same story and set it in modern day Wall Street.
Yeah.
And it would have been the same. It would have been political Machiavellian backstage drama.
Yeah.
And that's not Charles's style.
No, it is not. I consider this, there's fantasy and then there's high fantasy.
Yeah.
High fantasy has always been
the Tolkien shit.
The Tolkien shit, and the like it's, I don't know how to describe it quite right. It is the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
I'm more Star Wars. No, these ships would never fly. No, this doesn't make sense. He's a what? A Jedi? He has a laser sword?
These guys have guns. What the fuck? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get it.
Versus Star Trek, where every episode, every movie was based on some form of real science. There are people who look at Star Trek, and they're like, no, we could do that. Give us 100 years and we'll build all this shit.
And more importantly, every episode was based on a real-life social issue.
Yes.
It was a commentary on what is happening in the real world done in a genre that you're allowed to talk about it about.
Yeah.
In 1968, there's no criticizing the fucking civil rights movement or talking about the civil rights movement. But if you make it about space aliens,
then it's okay.
You can get away with
it. You can do this. Yeah.
We are black on the right and white on the left. They are black on the left and white on the right. It's as obvious as the nose on your face. Brilliant. Genius.
That is exactly right. And I was never really into that. I was into Star Wars, and I think it was also the same reason why I didn't like Battlestar Galactica when they rebooted that.
Really?
I was used to the old Battlestar Galactica, which is just a straight-up ripoff of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, straight-up ripoff of Star Wars. But I liked that, and I liked the campiness of it. And then they came out with the new one, and it was dark, and it was serious, and I kept waiting for it to have a sense of humor, I guess, and it just doesn't. It is this very dark, depressing, and a couple episodes in, I'm like, well, I want to kill myself. How about you? I can't, and I'm done.
I'll put the BSG Redux up there with this as some of the best shit ever on TV.
No.
Ever.
No. And for me...
But it's not for everyone.
Where you have Battlestar Galactica, I had Lost in Space. The 3 seasons of Lost in Space on Netflix. And I loved that.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Fan-fucking-tastic series.
And that was more my speed. Every episode was just this wild adventure, and, you know,
it was a 60s Western.
Yes, exactly. Game of Thrones is none of those things. It is not a fantasy Western or, you know, anything. It is high fantasy. And
Game of Thrones, no. Game of Thrones is political intrigue,
Yeah.
It's political backstabbing and intrigue.
Yes.
With a little bit of like family drama mixed in, and that's not Charles's style at all.
It is not. It lost me.
Yeah.
So there you go. I did not like Game of Thrones, and I did not like Battlestar Galactica.
See, so for that, I'm not even going to recommend House of Dragon because you know the sequel series, House of the Dragon. They've only done 1 season so far.
That's a sequel to this, or?
To Game of Thrones, and it goes very deep into the political drama.
Oh,
and you would not like it at all.
So it's like this, but slower and worse.
Less action, much more political intrigue.
Nope, you've lost
I think it's
me there.
excellent, but I am in the minority.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Well, I'll talk about one more minority then. The Rings of Power on Amazon. All right?
Yeah.
It is like historically just hated across the board by fans of Tolkien, but I liked it.
It was fine.
I thought it was fine. It wasn't like the greatest thing I've ever seen or anything, but I felt like it stayed in line with Peter Jackson's tone, like that he created, and I liked it. I thought it was fine.
We did a review of that, didn't we?
Yeah, we did a review of it.
I think I said I mostly found myself bored.
Yeah.
But it was fine.
It was fine.
It was fine.
Yeah. I'm not going to put it up there with like Lord of the Rings trilogy, but I'll put it up there with like the Hobbit trilogy. It's about as good as that.
It was a perfectly fine TV show. For the handful of episodes that it was, and like, okay, we watched this. Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, we were.
I'm not gonna praise it. It wasn't great. It wasn't shitty. It wasn't great. It was. You can sit there and watch it, and it's entertaining. And
sure.
Like, all right, great. It doesn't lend anything to the mythos of the Lord of the Rings,
right?
But who gives a shit? It's fine.
That series was so full of who gives a shit moments, but yeah, it's fine.
It was the opposite of Nimona.
Yes.
it did not draw any emotional response from me at all. It was just, okay, now they have to karate fight. Okay. Well, these guys look kind of cool.
You know what? I think that's exactly it. I was able to watch The Rings of Power, and like my facial expression, I don't think ever changed. It was just the same face the whole, and when it was over, I just kind of went, all right, well, I guess I'll watch the next episode.
Right.
That was it.
I could have been doing my calc homework at the same time. And I'd look up from, what? Oh, karate fight. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Oh, who did they kill? Fuck, rewind. That's how much.
That seemed important for a second. Oh, it was nothing.
But it was fine.
It was fine.
It wasn't Miss Marvel. I got through the series.
There you go. And for me, it wasn't Game of Thrones. I got through the series. I didn't make it through this. I didn't.
I was going to say I was astonished that you didn't like it, but when I think about what the show really is, it's not in your wheelhouse.
It is not. And I guess maybe if you took all the action scenes and spliced them all together, so it's just like back-to-back crazy karate fights, then I wouldn't know what the hell was going on or who to root for, and then it would just be over. But
it'd be a very different series.
Yeah,
Very different, and it wouldn't hit the emotional. Yeah, you have to give a shit about Ned Stark before you can be mad that they killed Ned Stark. So, I get it.
Yeah. So
Either way,
I'm sorry, guys. I
okay.
did not care about this in the least.
Some people, I mean, not everything is for everyone.
That's just it. Not everything is for everyone. And I want you to remember that when you're watching our shit, that
not everything is for everyone.
not everything is for everyone. We're just kind of giving you what we thought. Some of you, like, follow us because, yeah, what we think, that's kind of what you think, too. And we totally get that, and we appreciate you for it. But
some of you follow us because you think me and Charles are going to do some gay shit on camera at some point.
Not this channel.
I was going to say, not this episode, man.
Not with this scruff. He won't have it. I have to be smooth like a baby's bottom.
Dress up. Put on some makeup. You can't just walk in and suddenly I'm in the mood.
All right, that's another lesson. That's another life lesson.
Put on some makeup?
Put on some makeup. Come on.
Okay. Look the part.
Put some effort into
Get
it.
me excited about the project. Click subscribe.
Please
Please.
do.
Nobody
Please.
else does.
We need someone to click subscribe. One of you. Just click subscribe, please. And we'll see you in another episode.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.